Yes.
Oh, we can start streaming.
And we cannot watch Sausage Party.
Oh, you can do whatever you want.
I don't have the controller. You do.
That's right, I have the controller. But let's make sure that we're live, though. I think I need that for live, though.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah. So I think we're live. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to get started in just a hot second here.
The hottest of seconds.
The hottest of seconds. You know, not the first, but the seconds. We're going to tell everyone that we're live. Although, if you are here now, that means either A, this is pre-recorded and you're watching us, or B, you are on Twitter. No. You're following us on the on YouTube.
Wow.
You got that notification.
Keep naming things and you'll get there.
No, this is YouTube notification. You're a subscriber, you're on the bell, and we're live for you, because I have yet to Hootsuite this out.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
You're getting there.
I'm getting there. Come say hello. And stay for a while.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, we got some news. We got some thoughts. TV's back.
This podcast has been edited for content.
No, it hasn't.
No, I'm just...
We've not been edited. We don't edit this or content.
It's definitely not edited to fit the allotted time, that's for sure.
We don't have an allotted time. I allot my time anywhere between hour and a half to 2.
Yeah, we take as much time as we want.
Yes, we are regulated by ourselves.
We are the regulators.
The irregulators.
Sure.
Oh, that's right.
All right. Let's put something on the thing. And let's go.
All right, and let's go. So let's start recording. Woohoo.
Woohoo. Whoa! Woohoo is right because it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's the Media Boat Podcast.
It's time for another podcast edition.
Yes, it's time for another edition of our podcast.
Yes, another episode. We call these episodes.
Yes.
Yes, 141 episodes?
I was going to get there, but yes. This is the Media Boat Podcast. This is episode 142.
Ooh.
It is also September the 26th, 2018, in case you were wondering what day it is.
What day is it?
And in case you're wondering what the Media Boat Podcast is, well, first of all, thank you for joining us if you haven't seen us before. If you have seen us before, you know we are your source for news about movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order, but in some order, and in
it's a good order.
It's a good order. Let's go with that.
Yes, I know.
I was going to make a joke about ordering, but I couldn't think of one fast enough.
You order yourself an app.
We're your easy order.
And an entree. You get that dessert ready. Order in.
Yeah, order.
All right, lean back because DoorDash is on its way.
Yes, something like that. DoorDash of podcasts.
Yeah.
The DoorDash of podcasts.
Speaking of DoorDash of podcasts.
Yeah, but I'm Matt. He's Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. He's rambling. I'm starving. I've ordered. Food is on its way.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But until then, let's get right into this thing. And we start everything with slot number 1.
We always start with movies. And we always start movies with the weekend box office.
All right, where are we at with the weekend box office?
All right, so we didn't make a prediction this week, but if we did, I don't know if we would have gotten this right. Because
probably not.
Your number 1 movie is Jack Black in The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
The family film wins out. I don't think I would have called that.
I mean, it makes some sense considering that we haven't had a family film in a while. We really haven't.
Yeah.
That season's been kind of,
Is the Meg family friendly?
Been lapsed. Definitely not. But yes, your family movie, The House with the Clock on its walls, is the number 1 movie this week, making $26.6 million.
It's a pretty penny.
Not bad.
It's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah, not terrible. Coming in number 2, A Simple Favor with $10 million.
That's a rollover.
Yep. The Nun also rolls right over at number 3 with $9.9 million, adding to its, now it's hit $100 million domestic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done, The Nun.
Congratulations.
Looks like you got some.
It's a horror movie, so you know that thing made up its money.
Yes, easily. It's also the Conjuring franchise, so that just adds to that total.
It's just making cash now. The Predator is your number 4 movie with another $9 million. That, by the way, has even failed to earn as much as The House of the Clock on Its Walls did in its first weekend. The Predator is only at $24.6 million domestic.
So are we calling this
Is
Autobomb?
Bomb, yes.
We're gonna drive this down the Autobahn?
Oh yes, it's driving 88 miles per hour, 88 kilometers per hour down the Autobahn right now. But yeah, the Predator is guaranteed now a bomb. And lastly, not a bomb by any means. Number 5, Crazy Rich Asians, staying
Still
in there,
in the top 5.
still in the top 5 with another $6 million to add to its impressive $159 million total.
Domestically.
That's not bad. I mean, that's not a movie that's going to do as well overseas, so that makes sense. But yeah, 160 basically domestic is not bad for a movie with no special effects.
No special effects, no big name stars, and a
Yeah.
roughly $30 million budget.
You do not see that happen, and I'm glad it couldn't be happening to what sounds like a better movie. So that's good news.
We have to say sounds like because we've yet to see
Yeah,
it.
we still haven't seen it. Eventually we will. I don't know. Maybe.
We'll get there.
At some point. All right, that is it for the box office. Your upcoming weekend releases. We have 4 movies, and all vary in audience.
All right, varied audience.
All right, first up, Hellfest. Now, this is the one of the 4 I actually don't know anything about. What is Hellfest?
This is Carnival Gone Crazy. It's your
Okay.
horror film. It's a
Okay.
slasher film.
Got it.
It's goddamned people who are going to be damned by God.
Oh, okay.
Or at least someone claiming to be God. It's a Hellfest.
Got it.
This is the
Hellfest.
first of your horror films
Yes.
for the upcoming month.
Yeah, to get an early start on the October horror movie apocalypse that will happen all the way until Halloween. So that's exciting for people who like that kind of thing. Also in theaters, though, the opposite of a horror movie, another remake of Little Women.
Yes, we say another remake.
They've made a movie adaptation of Little Women several times. This is the newest attempt. I don't know anything about it.
I think this one's Amy Poehler produced.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's about all I know.
Okay. But
It's Little Women.
You know what that is
It's a book.
at this point.
I don't think they're
this
changing
week-
the story.
Also this week, the Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish vehicle Night School.
The
which is
give me
being
a headache every time it
marketed
comes
like
on.
crazy right now. That looks like a headache. That does not look like a very good movie. But I shouldn't need to tell you that.
Well, one, it stars Kevin Hart. There's
Yeah,
your level of
there's your
comedy.
flag right there. But yeah, I bet that'd probably do pretty well. It's getting the marketing behind it.
Both Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish are the 2 hot
Yeah,
comedians
they're
right now.
big right now.
So expect people to go see this,
People will see it.
and then expect no one to go see it.
Yeah, maybe. And then lastly, if you have kids in your life, I'm sure you know that Smallfoot. That's the movie with the Yetis. That is the movie with Zendaya as Michi.
Yes, that is the movie. No longer starring T.J. Miller.
No, he got replaced. But yes, Zendaya is Michi
Yes.
in.
Abominable.
No, Smallfoot.
It was called Abominable.
Yeah, but now it's Smallfoot.
Yes.
So yeah, Smallfoot is in theaters this week. That is it for this week's releases.
Do you think the animated family film beats out the adult comedy?
No.
No.
I think Night School is your number 1 movie next week. That's my prediction.
I'm going to go against you on that.
You gonna be contrary? Are you gonna go with horror movie?
No,
Because-
I'm going to go with
You want Smallfoot?
Smallfoot.
Alright, okay. Sure.
I say family animated film wins out the weekend.
Maybe this viral marketing of this dude singing about Zendaya being Michi, maybe that'll do some work on behalf of the movie.
On behalf of the
We'll
movie,
see.
I hope you win.
Alright,
I hope LeBron James gets the number 1 film.
we'll see. LeBron James.
LeBron
Let's
James.
move on. Did you see any movies this week?
No, I've been to the theater in like a month and a half.
Okay, then let's move immediately on
Yes.
to movie news.
All right.
Our first story is one of our favorite continuing stories, which is the ongoing saga of the 25th Bond film.
So, we have our director, Danny Boyle, who then fell out.
Yes.
And he has been replaced.
Right. Well, the original writers of Casino Royale, in the meantime, have been signed to do a rewrite of the Danny Boyle script, and a director has finally been hired.
All right, who we got?
All right. Joji Fukunaga.
You want to try that again?
Let me do that one more time. Kari Joji Fukunaga.
You still invested.
Fukunaga. My mouth does not move in the method that's required to say his name.
Fukunaga.
Kari Joji Fukunaga.
There you go.
If
And
I
he
say
gets
it
it.
slowly, I can do
And
it.
he gets it.
Which will begin filming in March for a February 14th, 2020 release date.
Ooh.
So Fukunaga, with this, becomes the first American-born director to helm a Bond film. In case you don't recognize his name, his last film was none other than Beasts of No Nation.
That was starring Idris Elba
Yes.
for Netflix.
Yes, that was a Netflix film that got Oscar nods. Which
Nods
was
and nods and nods.
still the only one to do so.
Right.
Daniel Craig is currently filming Knives Out with director Rian Johnson.
Yes,
of
that's
Last Jedi fame.
That's a murder mystery film. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to look forward to that one.
And we'll return to Bond right after that wraps up. So, 2020, February 14th, mark the date. It's Valentine's Day, and your date is James Bond.
Your date with Bond.
Yeah, your date with Bond.
That's going to be the marketing. Your date
Yeah.
with Bond.
That would be pretty good.
I mean, how else do you market that thing except
Yeah.
just James Bond looking dapper as hell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like just
A better
just
roses.
smoldering
Uh-huh.
look at the camera at all the women's like
It is
your
something.
date.
Yeah. I once heard someone refer to Daniel Craig as so ugly he's handsome. So, yeah, I guess he's somebody's cup of tea. All right,
Is
let's
that a
move
British
on.
joke? Because that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, needless to say, we called this in
Yes.
a lot of ways. Not the director, of course.
No.
But
We did- they
that
hop
they
on
would just
that.
rewrite the script. And,
Yeah,
you know?
one they'd be right. Two, they'd hop on a hot young new director
Yep.
as
There it
fast as
is.
they could.
All right, let's move on to a next film, which is similar to Bond, is about spies.
So the
Or agents, I guess.
the exact companion piece,
Yes.
you could say, to the Bond franchise is
Indeed.
the Kingsman franchise.
Yes, one of your favorites, Kingsman,
Yes.
which we've already seen two of, is getting a third, which we knew was going to happen.
Mhm.
But the surprise here is that your favorite director, Matthew Vaughn,
Yeah.
is being signed to come back as writer-director for the film.
Yes, he did Kingsman
Yes.
1 and then Kingsman 2,
Two,
and now he's in for
back.
Kingsman 3.
So Fox has set the untitled Kingsman movie for November 8th, 2019, making moves on, of course, the vacated space that Bond 25 once occupied.
Yay!
So since Bond moved to 2020, there is space for the Kingsman. No word on what it will be about yet, but the series has been based off the popular comic series and will likely take its inspiration from there. With, of course, the return of your star, Taron Egerton, in your lead role.
Yes, Taron Egerton will be back to playing Eggsy. Colin Firth will probably be back.
Probably.
In
I don't think you can do that movie without Colin Firth.
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
important.
both of them have been. I mean, you thought they could do the second one, but then they brought him back.
Yeah, right.
And then the one that won't be back probably is Mark Strong because he, spoiler alert, got killed.
Yeah, spoiler.
Don't be surprised if the female protagonist Roxy makes a return, but this time as a villain.
Oh.
Because even though it's said that she died, she may or may not have died via comic book lore.
Yep, comic books. They
Don't
do
want to
that.
spoil anything, but check out the Kingsman series. It's only like 8 or 10 issues available right now at your local comic book store if you want to get a heads up on what that story is going to be about.
There you go. All right. Moving on, someone who has not been in a secret agent movie yet, but probably will be at some point in his
we
career.
nominated him for a secret
Yeah.
agent movie.
We did, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, one of
Media
our
Boat
favorites
favorite.
here at the Media Boat Podcast, Michael B. Jordan, is yet another upcoming project. This time, based on some Tom Clancy novels. This one, well, I guess novel, singular. Because the novel on which this is based actually became a whole lot more video games than it ever was books.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan has signed on to star in a series of films as John Clark, a secondary character who helps Jack Ryan with more of the physical elements on any mission. which, if that sounds familiar, you'll know that as the focus of the Rainbow Six series.
Yes, the Rainbow Six video game not spy, but sleuthing
operations team.
There you go.
So if you've never played a Rainbow Six game before, they usually they became more traditional first-person shooters as the series went on.
Yes.
But traditionally, Rainbow Six carved its own space in the shooter market by being strategic.
Yes.
That's
one thing of stealth moves.
Yeah, you would basically have a team of operatives trying to infiltrate a building, typically, and you would actually have to pick where your team entered the building, and you would have to breach doors, and you have to save hostages. It was a very strategic kind of shooter back in the day, and it was very difficult. But yeah, its most recent incarnation, Rainbow Six Siege, is incredibly popular.
Yes.
Multiplayer-focused version of that, and yeah.
And it's still getting support, but that's video game news.
But yeah, that's video game news. But yes, so finally, it took 20 years, but we're finally getting a film based on the popular series. It will be produced at Paramount and developing 2 of the novels as an origin story for the character. I guess there were 2. Okay.
Yes.
I was under the impression there was only 1 book, and it just became a juggernaut in video games.
No. There's multiple. It started off with 1 book.
Okay.
Oh, God, the name is escaping me.
I don't know.
Yeah, I should have written it down.
Anyways, but yes.
But that 1 book introduced the character as the on the ground and tactics for John Ryan, and then that spun off into the Rainbow Six series.
Okay, got it. But yeah, Jack Clark, he will see his origin story in this film. Jordan will be... it may take a while for Jordan to be ready, though, because he's currently filming the drama Just Mercy before this project even starts. So we'll see what the schedule is there.
Right.
Warner Brothers was trying to sign the actor for this, but Paramount served up the prospect of leading a film franchise, which sealed the deal with Mr. Jordan. So he wants to be the poster boy.
So we previously talked about how Michael B. Jordan and Warner Brothers teamed up with the writers on how any production that Michael B. Jordan's team does will be writer inclusive with Warner Brothers. This will have the same impact over at Paramount, which is awesome. But not only that, Michael B. Jordan wanted to sign his next film before he started shooting Just Mercy in the upcoming fall. Warner Brothers went after him with several projects, but they were all standalone, single projects.
Not what
he wanted a franchise that he could sort of pin his hat on.
Yeah, which makes sense. He's a young guy. This is the perfect time to do that. It's the
He's
perfect time to become a
established.
household name.
He's established.
Yeah.
This is time for him to be not only leading man, but leading man household name.
Although you could technically argue that is what Creed is.
That's what Creed is.
They are making a second Creed. And
yes, but you see that Creed is still a spin-off.
Right.
He wants the
it's not his own thing.
Right. It's not his own thing. He wants the establishment of this is my franchise. This is what he's going after.
And you know what? Good for him.
Yeah.
That's really good. He's getting what he needs to do right now. All right, our next story, I'll be quick with this one. That's not a huge news story.
No,
so
but it is one of my
grade?
favorites.
Yeah, remember 8th grade?
I do remember 8th grade. It's like 15
we
years
made this
ago.
joke the last time.
I know
Not
we
actually
did.
8th grade, the film.
Yes, by A24, one of our
grade.
favorite productions houses.
So, Sony Pictures has some plans for this thing. Not only are they releasing it into international territories for the first time after its only $13.5 million run domestically.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, but it's a small movie.
It is.
It wasn't bound to be super huge.
It was shot in 30 days.
But not only that, but they're also prepping it for award season, which is quickly approaching.
Yeah, it is.
This is A24's award successor to last year's very successful Lady Bird,
which got the nomination for Best Picture.
Right, so...
and it won for writing?
Yes, Greta Gerwig
won for writing.
original screenplay.
Yes.
So yes, exciting times potentially for them if they get back into the big awards. So do you think 8th grade is Best Picture material, or do you think we need to see more movies?
I need to see more movies, but as of right now, yes, it is one of my favorite films of the year. It is written well. It is written from the perspective of an 8th grader. It is written for 8th graders, but it's written for anyone who's gone through 8th grade. And I think that's something both writing and directing challenging because we're all severely older than that.
Severely.
Severely.
All right, that is it for film. That is it for movie news. So let's move into television, and we always start television with sports.
Sports Corner.
It's Mike's Sports Corner. What do we got this week? Our
This
first story
is
about baseball.
Well, I know I haven't been covering it because the Angels have been out of it for a while.
But
baseball is winding down. The end of the season is coming up at the end of this weekend.
Yes.
Playoffs. That's right.
Playoffs. Into the postseason.
Postseason, yes.
Are the Cubs, the Brewers, the Braves, the Dodgers again, the Rockies, the Indians, the Red Sox, the Astros, the Yankees, and the A's.
Yes.
So
those are the
all...
4 sure teams in. About 4 of those teams are still trying to determine where they're being seeded.
Right.
Either going to be the top seed in their division or have to play a wild card game.
So the question is, are we all bandwagon Dodgers fans now?
Well, it depends on where you're at.
Okay.
I mean, sure.
I mean, like down here.
Oh, down here in Southern California?
That's what happened last year, Jesus.
Yeah, down here in Southern California? Yeah, most likely.
Okay, well, baseball, if you like baseball, if those were one of your teams, then get excited, get pumped.
Yep. Which also means that if one of those teams are going to be playing, or if you don't want to even try and pay for a playoff ticket, check out your local baseball stadiums as they'll probably do a bunch of fan giveaways as the season winds down, and you get to say bye-bye to baseball season until next March.
Boys of October, or almost in October.
Yes. We're going to have to find ourselves a new Mr. October this year.
Who knows? All right, in other sports, hockey starts soon. Preseason hockey is happening as we speak.
Yes, preseason hockey is starting now. The first official game is 1 week from now. On October 3rd is the first, when the puck officially drops on the...
What day is that?
October 3rd.
It's October 3rd.
It's October 3rd.
Okay.
Thank you, mean girls. Was when the puck will officially drop on the season opener. Which also means you have 1 week to get those hockey fantasy teams ready.
All right, cool. All right, then in other sports, the NFL keeps chugging along.
Yes.
Football.
There was no tie this week, although we did have the game go into overtime. But that was not the big important news of the week.
No.
The big news is that Le'Veon Bell is still sitting out for the Steelers, and it's pissing me off.
But that's not what you have written here.
Oh, no. What I have written down is, of course, the 49ers multi-million-dollar just signed quarterback, Mr. going into the season undefeated, has officially hurt himself.
Yeah.
Jimmy G-String, Jimmy GQ, Garoppolo Power, Jimmy Jesus, I think is the other one.
Jimmy Jesus. He tore his ACL, which is not good.
Yes.
Needless to say,
the 49ers season has officially been shot.
Yep. So.
For those of you who are 49ers fans, trying to come across the bay into Raider territory.
Maybe. The Vikings got upset by Buffalo.
Yes, and so did my team.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirk Cousins, for blowing it. So remember how last week we were talking about Von Miller, or not Von Miller. No, not Von Miller. Von Miller's on Denver.
Yeah.
Was it the linebacker? I forgot his name. The linebacker who left the Bills' locker room at halftime.
Yeah.
Just quit.
That guy.
Officially walked out and quit.
Yeah.
Well, turns out they didn't need him. They won. They dominated, destroyed the Vikings in an upset game. But Vikings will be on a revenge game playing Thursday, short week.
All right, cool. Then lastly in sports, you have here that a rookie, Josh Rosen, has been named starter for the Cardinals.
Yes, is that the last thing I have?
That is the last thing you have for sports.
Okay, that will not be the last thing. But yes, Josh Rosen, the last of the rookie quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round, will now be getting the start. Darnold is over there on the Jets. Josh Allen is over... got his start this past week officially for the Buffalo Bills, and now Josh Rosen, the other Josh,
So many Joshes
will be getting his start this upcoming Sunday for the Cardinals, which means he is available for pickup on the waiver wire.
Oh, good for him.
Yes.
All right, what else in sports then, if you have things to add?
Yes, and lastly, the last news in sports
yes.
Is one of a comeback of sorts.
Okay.
Has Mr. Tiger Woods has officially won the PGA tournament.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He was up 3 strokes going into the last day. He actually lost the last day, but he had a lead enough to hold on and win. So he is a champion yet again. Congratulations, Tiger Woods.
I guess. All right. That does it for sports then, so we can move right on to proper television news.
Yes.
Our first television story is kind of a bigger than television story, but we put it here because that's where it belongs.
Yeah, it's also
I guess compared to everywhere else.
That's where we report it, and it's also the big thing that happened over the past couple days.
Kind of, besides our continued judicial hearings that's been going on for the last 2 weeks, this is probably the biggest story right now going. You have...
All right, so let's get into this.
Yeah, you have finally some closure to the Bill Cosby saga, of course, the famous actor and rapist
father
was
Father
accused
TV.
of sexual assault and several countless women.
60.
He has finally been sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison, which I heard on NPR is just the usual sentence for a first-time offender. And a case against sexual assault, of course. Judge Stephen O'Neill said the evidence was, quote, overwhelming, unquote, based on Cosby's own words in his civil deposition. Cosby, of course, is age 81. He was walked out of the courtroom in handcuffs and officially designated a sexually violent predator. The headline, another headline to follow up here that I thought was funny, that I saw right before we recorded, is that apparently... This was a screenshot, so I don't know what outlet was reporting this. But apparently his first day in prison, someone threw, quote, a stale hot dog bun at him, unquote. I don't know who found that out. I don't know who reported that, but it's hilarious.
Is there context I'm missing, or is it just someone threw something at him?
It was just that's all I saw. Like, it was a screenshot of a headline, so I didn't actually read it.
Yeah, okay.
About it, but it was just like, okay.
Welcome to prison.
There's more where that came from, Bill. All right. In other news, Apple.
All right. So speaking of sexual stuff. Sexual content.
Apple. Our people over there who make your Macintosh computers and your iPhones.
Also have a TV service they'd like you to try out.
Yeah, they also have their own creative, a place to have creative work on their iTunes store. So CEO Tim Cook reportedly canceled, though, a 6-episode series titled Vital Signs that was going to launch on their platform. It was due to characters doing cocaine, a lot of gun violence, an explicit orgy scene. So the high-concept TV drama would have starred Ian McShane, Sam Rockwell, and Michael K. Williams. Apple didn't want its brand to be tied to drugs, sex, and nudity to that extreme, so they pulled it.
Yep. This was produced by Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre.
Uh-huh.
And so I think it was supposed to be based on the life of Dr. Dre as well.
Okay.
And so it was like, hey, this is literally what happened. And Apple was like, no, you don't. We gave you $1 billion, but that doesn't mean you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's really interesting, considering, like, how far did this if they were casted and they were about to, and if they had 6 episodes in the can, like, presumably, which is what this sounds like, then how did it get this far without people, like, execs knowing what it was? It seems insane.
No, it's...
Unless it was just like, oh, this is fine, and then 0 Hour came and they were like, oh, I don't know, and they got gun shy.
It's one of those things where they shoot their first couple episodes, and then they go to test screenings, and then they go into the Apple censors and be like, well, before we put this on, maybe we should show this to someone. Be like, no.
So I assume in all sorts of ways and on all sorts of platforms, this probably happens all the time.
You would think that.
The only reason why we're seeing this is because the names are so big, right?
Well, one, names are too big. Two, it's Apple. And three, this is streaming.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean,
there are no rules.
There's no rules
yeah.
for streaming, but Apple is imposing its own set of rules.
That's what
which
makes
is the
this,
story.
Yeah, that's what makes this interesting.
The story isn't this thing got canceled. The story is Apple imposing its set of standards, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
On its content.
Like, I'm glad they have standards, but yeah, it is interesting in contrast to Netflix.
HBO.
Which pretty much just lets you put whatever the hell. Well, not even just HBO, especially Netflix.
Right.
Just like whatever the hell you want to show on here can be as disgusting as possible. Here, just put it on Netflix. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just an interesting contrast there.
It's one of those things where Netflix will put it on there and it's like, if you want to watch it, it's there.
It's there.
If you don't, we have all this other content for you.
It's like the Twitter approach, where it's like Twitter is very like, oh, we don't know what's on there. If we told somebody that was bad, we'd have to tell everybody it was bad.
Right.
It's just like that's a one approach, and it looks like Apple doesn't want to play that game.
No, Apple is trying to keep its Apple image clean.
Apple image, yeah.
Because Apple is family friendly.
They are, a business, and they are a private.
Right. It's not like they have a Miramax attached to them where they can just dump it.
Yeah, it's just interesting because we don't have necessarily a streaming precedent for this.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if other big names get the same treatment over there, or if they take this somewhere else.
I bet Amazon just comes in and says, "Hey,
like,
we'll put it on
ours.
We'll
play anything on ours."
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Especially since Amazon and Apple are very butting heads.
Yeah.
Especially with streaming.
Oh, well, with everything.
If they just want to come and be like, "We'll do it and we'll cover the cost. Don't worry about it," then yeah, that's gonna be a big like stick you to Apple.
Yeah, it could definitely happen.
But there's still
see.
there's still, aside from streaming, there's still regular TV we got to talk about.
There is, but we'll get there. First up, we have a story about Steve Harvey. It's not regular TV.
That is regular TV.
Steve Harvey has a daytime talk show, or at least he
did.
It was called Steve, and it has been canceled, and it's been replaced by none other than our own one of our Media Boat favorites, Kelly Clarkson.
Hey!
Kelly Clarkson will replace Steve Harvey's show, but the move won't take place until fall of next year. But still, Kelly has already shot the pilot, and NBC has already bought it to air in 11 select U.S. cities. The new hour-long program will see her playing games, music, interviewing guests, and finding ways to give back to communities and organizations. I think this is a perfect move for Kelly Clarkson.
This is the wholesome back to Martha Stewart for NBC type show.
She get where she's.
This is her mom
right now.
phase.
Yeah,
this is
she's
mom phase.
Definitely in her mom phase, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's very much she's doing her.
As we reported on her previous album, she's clearly in mom mode now, and she knows how to speak moms to daytime talk show.
But I don't want that to sound like I worry about that sounding a little.
I know,
but at the same time, I think that also this is a great fit because she's just such a good personality when it comes to interviews. It'll be interesting to see her doing the interviewing. Yeah. But yeah, I'm so used to her being just this super large personality in the room all the time. She's got such a personality.
And that's just because you like her as an artist.
I like Kelly Clarkson, but I'm just saying I think I'm seeing her on The Voice and stuff has proven that she can handle a show. She can do this. She's natural at that hosting thing. So this is a really smart choice. All right. Moving on to, speaking of NBC, Comcast, their parent company, has been making some moves.
Big move.
Finally did it. This is kind of our last follow-up story to the big 21st Century Fox Rupert Murdoch sell-a-thon here.
Yes.
Sky Television, of course, was being eyed by Comcast, as we had previously reported. But yes, they did it. They won the majority ownership in Sky after a bidding war with Fox. Comcast is offering $40 billion for a majority stake. They outbid at $3.6 billion because they wanted to ensure the company had paid enough of a premium after losing that Fox deal with Disney. Fox will sell the remainder of its stake in Sky to Comcast for around $15 billion of their money. The next move in their strategy here, though, is to somehow get Disney to sell its remaining stake in Sky, or instead, its 30% stake in Hulu, which is an interesting tie to something we've been reporting on.
Yes. We've been reporting on Disney streaming service and whether it's just going to overtake Hulu, rebrand it, or start its own streaming service.
So I feel like that could also be a strategic move here. I was thinking about this earlier, was if they do choose, they could just cede Hulu over to the rest of the people.
Right.
And then just put all their interest in their own streaming service and just not worry about it.
Why? Well, if I was Disney, I'd try and double dip.
Yeah.
Keep the ABC, the Disney, the proper stuff that you normally get on cable on Hulu and then just put all the extra stuff, the movies, the streaming exclusives, the Disney XD, the ESPN, the Marvel, the Comcast, the Star Wars, all your external stuff on your streaming site.
Interesting in concept, but I feel like part of the whole thing they're trying to sell is a one-stop shop for Disney. Of course, this is all conjecture.
Well, no, you can do both. I mean, you can have content on both, but it's a gated where only the TV stuff, like stuff you're going to show on for cable, goes to Hulu. Everything else is back.
I just don't see them doing that kind of dual thing. I think it's an all or nothing thing. I think they either want Hulu or they either want to shut down Hulu. I think they want to own it or they want none of it.
Here's the thing, is that because Disney owns Fox content, they can keep the Fox stuff on Hulu as well.
I don't think so.
And not mess with what everyone conceives as the Disney brand.
Again, though, I want to specify that this is all conjecture. We have no idea. Disney in no way has specified what kind of thing this streaming service is going to be. So that's the question here, is that it depends on their angle. If they do want it to be literally everything Disney, I totally could see them cede their Hulu shares and just give up. Just give up on Hulu. Just be like, this is your guys' thing to play with now. We got our own deal, and people will come to us for us. Or maybe you are right, but we don't know. We don't know yet because they've been really very, very quiet about what they exactly plan to do with this thing. So,
let me put it this way. Would you see The Simpsons on Disney?
On the Disney-branded streaming platform? Is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I absolutely would.
I don't see that.
I think so, unless, of course, they don't. They choose to. They don't interrupt the FX syndication deal. If that FX syndication deal continues, and FX as a network, because I'm sure that they have some sort of autonomy
exclusive,
there,
yes,
as opposed to just going by the whims of their future Disney overlords, then they may choose to keep that content on Hulu. Who knows? I think ultimately we don't know enough about the inner workings of these networks and how autonomous they will be under the Disney leadership. We don't know.
Okay, let me make it easier. How would you see Family Guy on a Disney platform?
Again, I think that also that depends on syndication rights.
Well, that's the thing is because Disney will be absorbing all this extra Fox content, they need a place to put it. And Hulu is already established to put all that stuff to not mess with quote-unquote Disney brand. But family-friendly, wholesome Disney brand.
I think
which is what they're
that
going
kind
to
of
be.
Thought process, though, is firmly stuck in 1995. That is not what that company is anymore. I think after the Marvel purchase and after the Star Wars and after the last 10 years of the studio, they, I think, have embraced Disney as Disney, and everything is Disney, regardless of audience, regardless of content. I don't think they're Apple is, I think, what I'm trying to say here. From a couple stories ago, I don't think they identify like that anymore. I think that Bob Iger changed the identity of that company. I think that they're just, no, we're Disney, we're multiple things. We're everything at once. And I think that their approach, they want to be Netflix. I genuinely think that they want their thing to be Netflix of everything that they have. And one of the things about Netflix is that it has everything for every audience. Now, would I be surprised if they did a Netflix-style tiering where there's the kids kind of cordoned off zone and the everything zone.
Well, yes, of course they will do that.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying is that as long as that they give those tools to the customer, they don't care what makes them quote look like at this point in Year of Our Lord 2018. I really do not think that is a concern for Disney as a corporation anymore. That's my reading of where that company is. Now, if Iger's out at some point in the interim between then and now, or now and
well,
then,
he's been trying to be shooed out.
Then who knows what a future CEO would designate? Like, I don't know. I don't know what that identity of the company becomes in the future. But I'm saying right now, 2018 Disney, I think that they just want that streaming service to be the biggest thing on earth. And that's all they care about.
Well, yeah,
so that's why I think that the strategy is just scorched earth, take everything out of everything else, just put it one place so that way you have to pay them. They're going to make you. Because that's the Disney that Bob Iger runs, is cruel and capitalist and vengeful. That's how I view them, at least at this point. But I don't know. That's my reading.
Let me live in my ideal world.
Yeah, I think you're stuck in 95. But that's okay. Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
In special ways. All
right.
right.
I know what you're saying,
yeah.
But this is also not a story about Disney. I do think that, yes, Disney will probably, as much as I don't want it to happen, just say...
You just don't have to pay for it.
Well, no, I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's the whole... Once they set this thing up, then everyone's going to want to set up their own thing, and it's basically streaming.
It's already
cable
happening
streaming.
With that stupid DC thing that launched like last week.
I know.
It's already happening. It's already doing it.
I know, and then FX Plus is happening.
Yep. It's slowly going to be an a la carte world for entertainment, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
All right, let's end
we'll get to paying all
television with some television thoughts. You watched some TV this
week.
Yes.
TV's back. TV's back, y'all.
It's the start of the fall season this week, so get excited.
Yep. NBC went first this week.
NBC went first. You saw a handful of shows. Which one do you want to talk about
let's start
first?
Well, let's start in order. Okay. Monday, I returned to The Good Doctor.
That good doctor.
That good doctor.
All right. So talk about The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. Actually, kind of
season 2.
This is the start of season 2, but it kind of wraps up everything that was in season 1. All the cliffhangers, all the leftover stuff that was in perpetuity. They brought that over. Start of season 2. Looks good. Still looks good. I'm still excited for that thing. I'm still gonna watch it. It's a nice show. It's a good Doctor show.
Is it a good show?
It's a good show. It's a nice Doctor show. It reminds me of House. But without being like, one, he's not running the whole thing, and two, he's not arrogant.
Right.
It's a good take on the Doctor. It's a good twist on the being doctors, being medicals, being residents. Unlike that other show, Residents, New Resident.
Right.
God, that guy's terrible. Yeah, I watched half an episode of that.
Yeah.
Of New Resident. I wanted to punch that lead character in the face. It was just the way he comes across, but I just did not like him as a main character.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I watched other stuff too.
Okay.
So if you like The Good Doctor, it's back because TV's back, and it looks like it's going to continue that. It's going to expand on some of the storylines, some of the love lines. Some of the love stories. Love line.
Dr. Drew's there?
Yes, Dr. Drew.
Okay.
So the love stories, plot lines. It's going to expand more on Sean Murphy as a individual rather than being crushed or hold on to other people.
All right.
You're going to see him come to his own here, and I'm excited for it.
Okay. Moving on, you also saw the season 3 premiere of This Is Us.
Yes. And I'm starting to get a bone to pick with that thing.
Uh-oh.
In a good way.
Trouble in NBC drama paradise.
It's drama in the fact that everything needs to be drama.
Everything is drama in that show.
Yes. No one can seem to get a happy ending. Everyone is always... Even the couple you thought had a happy ending, had a happy story. Thought you knew everything about it. Nope. We're going to throw you twists and turns because there's no such thing as a simple, clean, happy ending.
Hey, the show's got to keep going.
Yes. And they got to keep the parents' arc going, even though they showed that the dad dies. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
but it's
still get your tissues out because you're gonna be crying the whole time.
They lost a baby in the first episode.
Oh God! Spoiler.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yes. So the first episode of season 3 opens with a miscarriage.
Jesus.
How about that?
Jesus. What are they trying to do over there?
Let's go with that for our season opener, and then go from there on the
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, so just an okay pilot or a season 3 premiere.
I mean,
like, just like it is what you think it is.
It's exactly what it is. It's gonna tug on your heartstrings. It's gonna hit you over the head with drama, and you're still gonna watch every episode because it's
This Is Us.
This Is Us.
And you also watched 2 other shows. I don't know anything about either of these.
All right, first one.
She's a maniac. Actually, just maniac.
Should I try to catch up on This Is Us? Yes, it's fairly available. The first couple episodes will suck you in, just like it did with me. But they are an hour long each, so it's gonna be a milestone to catch up. I think that's like 26 episodes. I think only like 13.
Seems like way too much.
13 to 15 episodes each season.
I don't know.
So you got 30 hours of TV to catch up.
You get just like a little behind on those hour-long dramas, and you just miss so much. And
Yeah.
it's just such a pain to catch up. I'm still trying to get through season 2
Riverdale.
of Riverdale. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. I almost did on Saturday, and I was just like, I have how many episodes left in this season?
Yes.
I was just like, this is like 15 hours.
Well, see, unlike Riverdale,
life.
which is a teen drama, which make everything drama, this is actual like human drama.
Wait a minute. Slow down for a second. Teenagers are not humans?
Riverdale is not a human show.
I mean, yes, they're different totally.
Yes.
You know what I mean. Just like our commitments.
Yes.
A lot.
I've never watched, but everyone loves it. Yeah, everyone loves it, and there's a good reason for it. It did win the Emmy, or it's been nominated for Emmys for Best Picture.
It hasn't won yet.
Yeah, it hasn't won yet because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a really good show. Watch the first episode, at least the pilot, and you'll see the tone and the storyline structure that it's going for, playing between the 2 separate timelines, and you'll technically 3, but you'll from those first 2 episodes you'll get an idea of what this show is offering and how it can easily tug on those family emotional dynamics that you may be harboring deep inside you.
Something like that.
But yeah, definitely worth catching up. It is roughly 30 hours to catch up, so take that in mind. But you don't have to take it all at once. That's a good thing. It's streaming, so it's on demand at your time.
All right. But yes, anyways, let's move on.
Yes.
You also saw... Okay, what the hell is Maniac?
Maniac. Emma Stone and a really ridiculously skinny Jonah Hill.
What happened to Jonah Hill?
He lost like all his weight. He's like a twig in this thing. But that's on purpose because he's a drug pill addict and you don't like him.
A drug pill addict?
Yes.
Oh no, not the dreaded drug pills.
Yes.
Those are the worst kind.
Well, it's drug, it's antidepressant, it's hallucinations.
All the drug pills.
All the drugs. Which is funny because you take someone like that, throw him into a drug trial. And that's what this show is.
Oh my. So does it make him a maniac?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
That's up to you to decide if anything he's experiencing is real, not real. Is Emma Stone even real or not real?
I
is
think
she
she's
playing
real.
along?
I
Is
think
she
Emma
in
Stone
this?
is a real person.
In the show. I mean, she's like in most people's dreams, but she's real, and she's spectacular.
Sure.
But yeah, Maniac is the new show on Netflix. Okay. I'm only a couple episodes into it because it's an hour long. I don't want to finish it, but I think I probably will. Okay. It's one of those hour long Netflix super heavy content that it's dealing with, drugs and depression and clinical trials and one of those like psychological things.
A lot.
It is a lot. Go into that with caution, like severe caution.
Okay. And you also saw something called New Amsterdam.
Yes.
Now I understand that used to be that used to be what New York was called.
Yes, it was Old Amsterdam.
But what is the show New Amsterdam?
New Amsterdam is the new medical show from NBC.
Okay.
Where a doctor comes into a hospital, a public hospital, and basically decides to run it his way. This sounds super boring, and that's because it is.
Yeah.
In the first day, it's basically everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law at its best.
Mm-hmm.
New doctor comes in, immediately fires half the staff because they didn't take on patients due to medical reasonings or due to a billing. But they're a public hospital, so they're supposed to take on anyone. And so he's coming in to change the system.
They're headstrong. They take on anyone.
He's going to take on everyone.
Sorry.
Yes.
Derail.
Also, since I joined late, did you watch Manifest? And is it worth watching? Manifest is premiering tonight.
Oh.
Or no, sorry, tomorrow night. Premiering tomorrow night. I've yet to watch it. I watched the first act. I did not like the first act.
What is Manifest?
It's Destiny.
What is it?
It's the one about the plane disappearing. With the manifest of the crew. Also, just manifests out of nowhere.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah, that's also on NBC. Have you yet to watch the first episode of that completely? I had that on the list. I was going to watch it today, but then I had to write news and I couldn't get to it.
Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, so back to New Amsterdam. I am going to drop that show like a ton of bricks.
Probably smart.
Do not watch that show. So, new doctor comes in, immediately fires half the staff, and then immediately has to hire half the staff. You deal with a case of Ebola. You deal with the doctor's wife going into pre-labor, having birth problems. You deal with him with dealing with a new doctor about psychology, which I think is one thing it does good here is that it actually addresses psychological issues. And then the new doctor also has to deal with misdiagnosis from a previous doctor.
Okay.
To top it all of that, at the end of the episode, you find out the main doctor, the lead doctor, has cancer.
Oh no!
Oh no!
A doctor has cancer.
Okay, and then
it's a lot.
On how all that, it's based off a book. That's 8 things. This thing is trying to cram down your throat in the episode.
That sounds like a lot.
It is. It runs a lot. It runs everywhere. It tries to introduce a lot of characters at the same time.
Fun.
And while it does do that to a certain level of competency, for the most part, it is a mess. It runs around. So basically he's trying to shake up the doctor world. But by doing so, he's basically shaking you, going, "This is new. Like me. Will you like me?"
Yeah, I don't want to watch that show at all.
Yes. It started on Monday apparently, and it's recorded. I think I was gonna watch that, but then it got too late. Yeah. Don't worry, Manifest is on my to-watch list. It's one of those
to watch.
Yep. I got that. That's one of my new shows I'm coming up on, especially as I'm going to drop this show, New Amsterdam.
Drop it like it's hot.
I'm dropping that thing like a ton of bricks, because when you get new doctor coming in as head doctor and basically shaking everything up and yelling at people for the most part, and trying to, like, I'm doing new stuff and different because I believe we can break the system. The system needs to be changed, and I'm here to change it.
Sounds fun.
It's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. He meets with the or he accidentally changes with the maintenance staff. And the maintenance staff is talking Spanish, about the new doctor behind his back. And then he goes, "Oh, by the way, I speak Spanish. I know what you've been saying."
Because of course he does.
Because
he's everything.
He's the perfect doctor. He's here to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds like that show needs some work.
That's why he has cancer. Because he's imperfect.
He needs to have something.
All
right.
But
Let's stop talking about New Amsterdam. Let's move on.
Yes.
That will do it for television. Let's move into cancellations and renewals.
All right, cancellations and renewals.
All right, first up, we have a renewal that we reported on a couple weeks ago. The show Veronica Mars is getting rebooted by Hulu. It has gotten a 8-episode 4th season incoming on Hulu at some point, I guess, next year?
I guess that thing made money on the movie?
Yeah.
No.
But no. But yeah, apparently enough people wanted to see Veronica Mars happen again. It will be happening again.
All right, so Kristen Bell still working.
Still working when she's not on The Good Place.
Actually, she's not in The Good Place, and she's not recording for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Or yeah,
Or
literally everything
2.
that Anna is involved.
Frozen 2.
Also coming back for a third season, but will be its final season on HBO is The Deuce.
I dropped that.
Yeah. Haha, poop jokes.
Yes.
Only the most quality jokes here on the Media Vote podcast. Getting a third season on Hulu is Harlots.
I don't know what that's
I
about.
don't know what that is. Neither do I know what Dietland on ABC is, or AMC.
AMC.
AMC's Dietland canceled after one season.
Oh, good. I didn't know what that one is either.
And that works. DuckTales,
Woo!
is getting a third season on Disney. Thank God.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's ahead of its second season premiere.
Yep, it's really good. If you haven't been watching the DuckTales reboot, do it. It's quality. Then now we move into deaths.
We have 2 for you.
We have 2 deaths. Our first up, age 88, Gary Kurtz. He was a producer on American Graffiti, Star Wars, and Empire Strikes Back. So
George Lucas, pal.
A very important producer for sure.
Yep.
Secondly, we have age 48, Paul John Vasquez. He was an actor. He was in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance and in Sons of Anarchy on FX.
FX. That's young. 48.
Yeah, 48. That's not old at all.
Yep.
So those 2 will be missed. That will do it for cancellations, renewals, and
I
deaths.
forgot to throw out the cancellation sign.
You didn't.
Oh,
but
I was too busy going into my TV rants.
that's okay. We're moving on to music now.
All right. I think we're done with TV. Yeah. So, which means we got what do we? You said I believe you told me
Yes.
in Epiphany that there would be a new #1.
There's a new #1 album this
All
week.
right.
There's not. Actually, there is also a new #1 song.
All right. So, what is now topping my charts?
Your new #1 song, "Dethroning in My Feelings" by Drake, is not new at all because it's been hanging out on at number 2 for a while here.
Is it that Maroon 5 Cardi B?
It is. "Girls Like You" by Maroon 5 featuring Cardi B is your #1 song in the country for the first time this year.
It got that Super Bowl hype bump.
It did. Your #2 song is "In My Feelings" by Drake, moving down just a bit. Debuting at number 3 this week is "Kill Shot" by Eminem. That is the single he went with, I guess.
Yeah.
Number 4, "Lucid Dreams" by Juice WRLD. And number 5, "Better Now" by Post Malone. Moving into your top 200, which is your albums chart. Number 1 this week, "With a Bullet," Carrie Underwood with "Cry Pretty."
Woo!
Gets a #1 album this week.
It
is her highest ranking debut
Yes.
of her career.
She's ever had a #1 album?
I don't believe she's ever had a #1 album until this point.
Huh.
That is what it says. Highest ranking debut.
Okay.
So there you go. That's pretty. That's
I should have
pretty
thought for
impressive.
the album itself.
Yeah, it's for the album.
For the artist. Huh.
I guess so. So yeah, that's your #1 in record. Number 2, moving down a spot, "Kamikaze" by Eminem.
Okay.
Number 3, debuting at number 3 this week, "East Atlanta" by Six Lack. I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce the 6 like a B.
Black.
Six Lack. I don't know. I don't
lowercase
know.
b.
6 Lack fans, tell me. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Number 4, "Staying Around," "Scorpion" by Drake. And number 5, "Astro World" by Travis Scott. That is your Billboard charts for this week.
All right. What do we have upcoming? What can I expect to listen to on Friday?
What can you expect to listen to on Friday? Well, it seems like we got a bunch happening this week. It's one of those weeks for everybody here. Your new releases include "Reduxer" by Alt J, "European Heartbreak" by Amber Arcades, "Holler" by Amy Ray, "Acoustic Volume 2" by Bayside, "Disease" by Beartooth, "Dancing Queen" by Cher.
Yes, that is an ABBA, ABBA cover by Cher, Dancing Queen.
There you go. "Elephants on Acid" by Cypress Hill. Yes, that's Cypress Hill. Mental Knife, by Hail the Sun. "Young Sinatra 4" by Logic. "Wouldn't It Be Great" by Loretta Lynn. "Drogas Wave" by Lupe Fiasco. "Digital Garbage" by Mudhoney. "Blood Red Roses" by Rod Stewart. "Young Romance" by Roosevelt. "World on Sticks" by Sam Phillips. "Total Retaliation" by Terror. "Canoyo" by Tim Hecker. And lastly, "An American Treasure" by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which was a posthumous.
Yes,
Tom
it's a
Petty record?
posthumous Tom Petty record.
All right.
But that is not all that is being released.
Okay, what did I miss?
Reports are reports. According to Twitter and
Oh yeah, I saw
the
this.
website
You're right.
of one Carter,
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne,
Lil Wayne finally.
will be releasing the Carter V.
5.
V.
No, 5.
The Carter V 5
Stop it.
on this week on Friday.
Yes, after being embroiled in legal issues and the constant bickering with the
Birdman.
Yes, Michael Keaton. That finally is going to be released supposedly on Friday. So we'll have to kind of wait and see if that actually happens. But we'll tell you next week if it did.
May have a new Lil Wayne album.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the one that was recorded
And then
back in 2013
whatever, yeah,
and then never released.
never released.
So
who
could
knows?
be dated.
Who knows what that thing is? Or re-recorded. I don't know. All sorts of things could have happened.
Yes.
So we'll find out. Let's move into music news for
All
the
right.
week.
And we're going to stick with Billboard real quick for this first story.
We are, because we have some records by none other than Metallica. Their self-titled album, also known as the Black Album, it has set a record by being on the Billboard 200 chart for 500 non-consecutive weeks. To date, it has sold over 16 million copies in the U.S. alone, and is now only one of 4 albums with that high of sales. The others, in case you're wondering,
I am wondering.
Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon,
With
Bob Marley, The Best of Bob Marley, and Journey with their greatest hits.
So the Bob Marley and Jury albums each have about 540 weeks on the Billboard. But they will never catch that Pink Floyd album.
No,
That thing is at like 700 plus weeks.
it's one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Yes.
It's insane.
It will forever remain on the Billboard.
Forever. All right, our next story is our continuing story about Ticketmaster and the adventures of scalping and how to prevent it.
So I had to go back and check if we had covered this story last
Yeah.
week because it seems like the thing has been happening constantly.
Constantly. All right, so
So what has Ticketmaster got itself into now?
apparently they were involved in a scalping scheme where Ticketmaster reportedly pitched undercover reporters on underground dealings in its professional resale program, through which it takes a cut of profits. They enlisted resellers to grab large batches of tickets from its site and then flip them for higher prices on a Ticketmaster-owned invite-only platform called Trade Desk. Ticketmaster gets extra fees from the pricier resale tickets on top of its fees from selling the original tickets. CBC and Toronto Star journalists up in Canada were told that despite the existence of a Ticketmaster buyer abuse division that looks for suspicious online activity in ticket sales, the company turns a blind eye to its own Trade Desk users who grab lots of tickets.
Now this is important because
Yeah.
Ticketmaster has previously sued
Right.
other ticket sites for reselling.
But what's being reported here is that when it's the platform they own, somehow they aren't such sticklers. What do you know? The sales representative told one of the undercover journalists that there are brokers with, quote, literally a couple of hundred accounts, unquote, on Trade Desk, and that it is, quote, not something that we look at or report. That's kind of shady.
It is.
Not even kind of shady. That's
That
super
is shady. That is almost illegal.
Yeah, I'd say. Because, yeah, that's basically the snake eating its own tail at that point.
Right. It's because Ticketmaster has purposely imposed ticketing software where you can only buy X amount of tickets per account, per household. But if you're giving these scalpers extra stuff knowingly on the side to help your own business, you're double, triple dipping at that point.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going to resell on your own site, that's basically, we're going to pay ourselves to pay ourselves later.
Yeah, exactly.
So you pay the higher fees
Right.
that covers everything that we paid.
Yeah, this is insane. I think now that this is out in the open, I think Ticketmaster really needs to get ahead of this and say, oh man, we need to do something about like regulation of our Trade Desk platform, or just shut it down. I don't know which is more likely at this point.
Well, I think government regulation needs to come in.
Yes.
We've already seen it overseas in Ireland, which we reported. This is a Canada story, and we've already reported about how people in Quebec, Canada, have taken legal action against Ticketmaster.
Right.
So we need to see actual U.S. Government take action against Ticketmaster, because this is getting out of hand. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting into, like, illegal in front of our own eyes. That is, we know this is happening. Please, somebody do something about it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But of course, who's gonna take action against one of the biggest entertainment companies out there at this point? No, I'm asking who.
Yeah,
who?
We don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right, let's move on then to another big music story. Probably the biggest music story this week.
Oh, bigger than the Ticketmaster?
I think bigger than the Ticketmaster.
All right, what could be bigger than Ticketmaster?
Well, it's an acquisition, because we love acquisitions.
We love legal stuff.
I mean, more specifically, acquisitions. I've actually always been fascinated. I remember reading the newspaper the morning of the Time Warner AOL thing. I remember reading. I physically have like a memory of reading the OC Register the morning that happened in the business section. That being in the front page of the business section. I remember being fascinated by it. Yes, that means that even at like age 8, I cared about acquisitions. I thought they were fascinating, and I still do. So this week we have an acquisition in the music world. Sirius XM, the satellite radio company, has acquired Pandora, the music streaming service, in an all-stock transaction valued at $3.5 billion. The deal will create the world's largest audio entertainment company, with more than $7 billion in projected revenue in 2018, and more than $100 million monthly listeners built in.
Subscribers. Those are monthly subscribers.
Right.
To either. I think it's something like 70 to Pandora and 30 to Sirius.
Crazy. This also moves the parent company Liberty Media into the streaming service world. The takeover has been unanimously approved by both boards of directors. So this looks like this is going to happen.
Yes.
So it's interesting now what XM does with the Pandora brand. Do you think that they leave it as a separate brand and kind of position it as a Spotify competitor? Or do what I think they should do, in my opinion, just get rid of the Pandora brand, just basically say, like, okay, Spotify beat us at that game, like, they have the name recognition, Pandora just doesn't. And they make that into a Sirius XM app that does the thing that Pandora did, as well as Sirius connection to people who are subscribers to Sirius.
It's an interesting thing, because what Spotify does is completely different from what Sirius and Pandora does.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong, but Pandora is also still not the same thing as Sirius.
Right.
Like, they are also pretty different.
No, like, the direct competitor, I would say, for Pandora is the iHeart app.
Yeah, they're more similar.
They're more similar. So I could see either something in that route where they just start buying up stations and play their own stuff.
Well,
or
no.
Or
I don't think that's going to happen.
Or
Sirius is such a different thing.
I know. Or you integrate the Pandora algorithms into Sirius brands.
That's also probably unlikely, considering that it's a different thing.
Right.
Sirius is like basically terrestrial radio with options. That's basically all Sirius is. It's digital cable, but with radio. Where, like, literally you can just tune into a station that's just Beatles music. It's still curated by the people who run the stations, which is different.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you can ever. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anything's going to change on the Sirius side of things. I think Pandora is the one that might have, like, a major change coming.
Well, I'm still battling in my mind as we're going through this as to which name's going to change, because both have high recognitions.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't think Pandora is as big of a name as Spotify at this point. So I think that if they wanted to, they could excise it.
I think Pandora is.
I think people are around our age are a little nostalgic for Pandora because it kind of beat Spotify to the streaming game. It was the thing that we all did before Spotify came around. But people younger than us, which make up the vast majority now, that's the demo that they're going for. They don't know what the hell Pandora is. And if they do, they've used it once and never touched it again. I think that you need to consider that it may be important to some people, but for the people they're trying to get, they don't know what that is.
Well, that's the tough thing.
It's the MySpace of music streaming.
It
is.
Kind of. No.
I mean...
It's the Twitter of music streaming.
No, I don't think so. Because Twitter at least has like enough of a notoriety in the global scale on a global scale.
So with Pandora.
I don't think so. At this
think
point.
so.
I don't think anybody cares about Pandora in 2018.
Just because you don't use it doesn't mean there's still a reason. It's still like one of the top download things monthly.
Yeah, but I don't know. In just comparison, just pure numbers, Spotify has a beat on every front.
Well, yes, it usually goes Spotify, then Pandora, then iHeart. When you look under the music,
I don't know. I think SiriusXM is the stronger brand of the two. I think that they rebrand Pandora.
I'm gonna do this real quick because I'm just gonna show you. All right. We're looking up the App Store on what the top music is for apps. It'll show you that it is still one of the top.
Sure.
Featured.
Keywords, one of the.
Yes.
Live research happening right here.
Music.
Okay.
What is the top? If I can even find a top.
Yeah, I don't know how this is organized.
Top 3. Spotify, followed by Pandora, followed by Amazon, followed by YouTube.
Yes. You're not wrong. I'm just saying the disparity probably between 1 and 2 is probably ridiculous.
Oh, no, it is. See, I have Spotify, update, Pandora, get.
No one has it.
Yes.
Again, I don't know. I feel like you're never going to be convinced, so we'll just have to agree.
I'm telling you that Pandora is as big.
To disagree here.
I tell you that Pandora name recognition is as big as Spotify. It's bigger than you think it is. That's why I don't see them actually getting rid of it.
Regardless of what happens, there will probably be changes, so we'll track that as it happens. But yeah, we'll let you know. We'll let you know what happens with that. Let's move on. Our last music story is a little frivolous one.
Yes, but it's also one that's funny and one that's cute and one that is the biggest news to come that we can ever report on.
Not really.
It's
all right.
It's all right.
William Shatner.
Yes, that William Shatner.
Yeah, that William Shatner. He's doing a Christmas album. It'll be called Shatner Claus, the Christmas album.
Yes.
He'll be singing your favorite Christmas songs and all their unorthodox pauses. Yep, his favorite way of singing.
Yes.
He won't be singing alone, though. He will be joined on almost every track by a guest. These guests include Henry Rollins, Brad Paisley, Iggy Pop, Mel Collins. Mel Collins?
Yep.
Who's Mel Collins?
Cousin of Phil.
Okay. And Billy Gibbons. The album will be released on October 26th and will be available on vinyl if you want it from Amazon.
Yes. Out of the 13 songs on that thing, he's only one song that he sings by himself.
All right. What is it?
I forget what it was. It's not a famous Christmas song. I know that.
So
every other song is a duet with someone else.
So get ready to be visited by
It is
Shatner
fascinatingly hilarious.
Yeah. All right, that's it for music. Let's move on to video games.
All right. Why did I do that? Let's start off with new releases.
We always do. New releases this week. Dragon Ball FighterZ is out on Switch finally, so you Switch players get to play Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Not only that, there's a new update out for everyone else, as well as new characters.
If you like soccer, FIFA 19 is out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch.
Or don't get it because it's EA. And make you pay for stuff.
Life is Strange 2, the first episode hits this week. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yes, you can also buy the season pass for that as well. To get every episode as it comes out.
And Valkyria Chronicles 4, the fourth in the Valkyria Chronicles series, hits PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch. Those are your new releases. Then we roll right into the biggest video game story of the week, which is a super downer, but it's a huge deal.
All right, get your tissues.
All right, there's been another studio closure, but this one's a little more severe than we've seen so far this year. Telltale Games, the developer of course, the Walking Dead episodic series, as well as others, including Tales from the Borderlands,
the Batman, series.
Wolf Among
Us.
Man.
Game of Thrones.
Bone. Game of Thrones. They did Minecraft Story Mode.
Yep.
It's just like, you name it, basically every adventure game, mainstream adventure game that wasn't Life is Strange was probably Telltale, and you probably have enjoyed at least one of their series.
And that's just what they've done recently. This studio goes back to like the early PlayStation 1.
Yeah, they used to be involved in other things as well, but they kind of made their name doing these modern adventure games. Well, they have fallen upon some financial issues as of the last year, which we already knew about.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know the severity of it until this week, when suddenly hundreds of employees on Friday morning were laid off. And we mean 225 plus employees. This was in advance of a planned closure of the studio, which has not still been officially closed. They have canceled all their games that were in progress, including the final season of The Walking Dead, which is currently on its second episode, which will be released next week.
Yes, but they've not announced any future episodes. That thing is officially dead.
Yeah.
They've pulled it from all gaming outlets, store outlets.
Yeah. So
Stores.
only about 25 people are left. A skeleton crew of people are supposedly still sticking around to finish the Netflix version of the Minecraft Story Mode, which was the next project that they were going to work on.
Yes. Speaking of Netflix, they are also contracted to work on the Stranger Things story or Telltale games. But
that seems to be canceled.
That is canceled by Telltale.
Yeah.
But Netflix says that it will still be going forward with it with a new studio.
Okay.
They are shopping that around now.
But this, in case you're wondering, has not sat well with employees. A lot of employees went to social media shortly after this happened to, one, explain the situation they were in, which sounded pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. It sounded like everybody was invited to a meeting. Everybody apparently secretly had their Google accounts canceled during the meeting. And within 30 minutes, basically, we're given 30 minutes to exit the building, and we're not given severance. They also kind of came out and talked about, a lot of employees talked about the amount of crunch that they had to work, unpaid, overtime, in a lot of situations. A lot of situations where they would be in crunch for a title, get out of it, and go right in the middle of another crunch for another project the day after. Mm-hmm. It sounds like working conditions were awful at Telltale. It seemed like nobody has good things to say about the guy who ran it before and the guy who ran it during the closure. So
other studios took to social media and offered their help to Telltale employees. One in particular is Insomniac. One of our favorites, recently off of the Spider-Man release.
Correct, yeah. And Ubisoft as well. Ubisoft was even doing a thing locally where they had a bunch of people out for a luncheon, basically. We're like, hey, come to this free luncheon if you were laid off, and we'll network with you. We'll figure out if there's a place for you here at Ubisoft. It was really, really nice, extension of goodwill there, part of the video game industry. But those who weren't so thrilled about their experience, some of them are going to form a class action lawsuit.
And this is where this thing gets interesting.
Alleging that Telltale violated labor laws by letting them go without cause and without providing them with an advance written notice as required by the WARN Act. Now, I am familiar with the WARN Act. Are you familiar with the WARN Act?
I know you're familiar with the WARN Act.
Because I lived it, man.
Yes.
It is the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act.
Yes. So if you're a full-time employee, there's nowhere in your contract where it says that they can fire you for any reason. They have to give you notice.
Right. They, in fact...
They being the company.
Yes. In fact, it requires that businesses with at least 100 full-time workers must notify employees 60 days in advance of any plant closing or mass layoffs. Rather than pay fines, the company must give affected employees back pay and benefits for each day of the violation, which means that if this happened to Telltale, they would have to pay each employee's salary and benefits for a full 60 days following Friday. So basically, every day from Friday for 60 days, they would have to be paid for, which would be quite a windfall for the people who basically left without anything.
Right.
So This is 100% legal in the state of California. This is California law where the shutdown occurred. So they would be forced to do this if they proved that this was how it went down, which it sounds like it did.
And it's not that going to be that hard to prove because they, one, lived it, two, 200 people can corroborate said story.
Yes, 100%. So it looks like Telltale was in a position where they just didn't have the money. Which brings into the other part of this. You don't have this here, but I want to talk about this.
Go ahead.
Kind of the other thing that came out of this is that there were some scuttlebutt about Telltale finding some ancillary, like maybe contract workers, some other teams of people to finish the rest of the season of The Walking Dead. This was kind of discussed by, I guess, people that were kind of still around after the layoffs happened. This, of course, got a lot of the former employees angry because, of course, they're wondering if you have the money to pay these contract workers, why didn't you have the money to pay us our severance? Is basically the argument there. And so, yeah, it's a real crappy look on behalf of the people who are still at Telltale. And I really hope that that's not what ends up happening. It sounds like that kind of quieted over the last day. But as of a day ago, that was the thing. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. The other kind of wrinkle here is that, hey, did you know that there are terrible people on the internet? Because terrible people on the internet keep being terrible. And one of the things that they did...
What else is new?
A bunch of fans of the Walking Dead games basically came out of the woodwork to do internet petitions about how they believe, quote, the Telltale team should finish the game, unquote, and they should do it for free because, quote, it should be for the love of the game, unquote.
It's a business. You got to get paid.
That is disgusting. It's like, no, pay people for their work.
Yep.
Like, that is so gross.
Beggars being choosers.
I can't even believe, yeah. But, hey, what are you going to do? People on the internet are
choosers choosing beggars.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big story with a lot of layers to it. We'll, of course, report on more if more happens. But, man, that sucks for the 250-plus people who lost their jobs this week. So, heart go out to them. Hope they find their feet. Hope that other opportunities await them wherever they may be. There are some talented people working in that Telltale. I mean, also, this is the death of a studio. This was the death of a very important studio. I mean, as we mentioned, Telltale made a lot of important series. They're arguably responsible for the renaissance of story-based adventure games. We wouldn't have Life is Strange without them. We wouldn't have... you know what? We probably wouldn't even have The Last of Us without them, because The Last of Us went so hard on story, I think partially because of the success of that Walking Dead season.
Probably.
I mean, that Walking Dead season won Game of the Year awards the year it came out. That's how big of a deal that was at the time. It's hard to realize that now, since there's been so many freaking Telltale games at this point. They diluted their own market in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's like they made an indelible impact on the industry as we know it. So, man, it's a complicated story with a lot of things, a lot of nuance. So, yeah, crazy story.
Yeah, it joins video game heaven with Atari and Epidemic and Respawn. Infinity
Respawn's
War.
still around.
Infinity War, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, well, they're still around too.
Oh no, they got bought. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
What's the one? Capcom Montreal.
Yeah, that happened last week. All right, let's move on. Our next story is about Sony. This is probably
This is a threefold story, actually.
Yeah, this is also kind of in competition for biggest story of the week. Kind of culmination of something we've been talking about here. They finally did it. They have recognized that there is a need for cross-platform play on the PlayStation platform, and they finally admitted that they're going to do it, well, sort of. They have chosen select third-party games.
A.K.A. Fortnite.
A.K.A. pretty much just Fortnite. For cross-platform play where people can play on the PlayStation 4 against people on Xbox One and Switch and PC. So, this will only happen to select games, as mentioned. Fortnite is so far the only one. The open beta right now will allow for players on Android, iOS, Switch, Xbox, Windows, Mac, everywhere to play with each other. The beta is a test over the next 2 weeks to ensure cross-platform play is best on PlayStation from both a technical and social perspective. So
now that is Sony's wording.
Yes,
I'll make that.
Is a very Sony way of basically saying, well, fine, we'll do it, but we're going to do it our way, which is we're going to see if this works for us for a little bit, and then we'll decide if we want to do this long term.
What they want to find out is, will people still play on PlayStation if they... Right. I mean, it'll get... See, people will either, one, pick up Fortnite now, and two, come to Fortnite because of it.
Yeah, they're going to... If they turn this switch on, essentially, and then later realize, oh, we had the lowest player numbers for Fortnite this week, then they'll probably turn it off.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of thing they're going to be looking at. And it sucks that they're in such a cynical position about it, but that's just the way Sony is. They're always been about closed platforms.
I think the other one they do this for is Rocket League.
So, it's funny that you say that. So, reporter for Kotaku, their story this week, reached out to different companies of different multi-platform games. And one of them was the developer of Rocket League. According to them, they have not been approached by Sony for integrating theirs for cross-platform play yet. Okay. They say that is something that Sony needs to come to them to offer because they can't do it themselves. So, yeah, it seems like Sony is being extremely selective so far with who they offer this to. So right now it's just Fortnite because Fortnite's the biggest game on Earth.
You're right.
But if that changes, then who knows?
I think they may go to the even bigger one.
Yeah.
Blizzard and Overwatch.
Yeah, that's.
But that's the behemoth. That's the crown right there. That is AAA title game.
Yeah.
Can you integrate with that? And I don't know if they'll want to play nice with them because they are such a big studio in themselves, whereas even Fortnite's big with the Epic behind them.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll be following that part, but that's not the only Sony story we got.
What other story do we have?
What other Sony story that we got? Story Stoney?
Story Stoney. What other Sony story is there?
You know it's the video game segment because we're losing the ability to speak.
Yes. So who died?
No one died. We have... Well, no one died, but we do have a final confirmation. We've been talking about this happening for a few weeks now, but the PlayStation Vita looks like it finally, officially, has breathed its last breath. The Vita will cease production in Japan. There will be no more production for the Vita, period. They will after 2019. There are no current plans for a successor either, according to some executives at Sony. So this looks like the end of an era for Sony. The handheld market just did not work out for them. They kind of got their lunch eaten by not only Nintendo but also smartphones.
Smartphones. Just the rise of smartphones in 2007 basically killed any type of handheld because you don't need to carry both a phone and a gaming system.
Well, more specifically, it killed the kind of handheld that Sony makes.
Yeah.
Nintendo has the benefit of the DS and the 3DS being used to take them on the go. It was great for like indie games and stuff, but for everything else, that experience was subpar.
I mean, it was great for their PSN for, like you said, indie games.
Yeah, indie games. It was great.
Yeah, crossplay was the thing that they were selling you on. That this little handheld device is as powerful to run a game on the PS4 as it is in your palm of your hand.
But you know what was the final nail in the Vita's coffin?
When they started canceling stuff?
No. It was the Switch.
The Switch.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Now, the Switch is the thing that people put their indie games on if you want an indie game handheld. So the Switch ate the rest of Vita's lunch. Is basically the one thing that the Vita had. The Switch now does it, and it does it better.
Well, yeah, because you can take those controllers off and play it like normally.
Well, not only that, but yes, it's powerful enough now to play pretty much any modern indie game. And so, yeah, it just does everything the Vita did and better. I have a hard time feeling bad for the last days of the Vita. I didn't own one. I played one once, I think.
I owned one. The only thing I bought for that was Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Was because it came with it.
Right.
And then I basically, just because I could do it, bought all PS Plus games because they were free, and downloaded what I could and what I wanted. Just what I wanted.
A free library.
Yep, a free library. And I still did that. Even when I stopped playing my Vita, I still did it. Just in case I want. Just because it's in my library. Yep. So I have all these games in my library that I can access technically.
Yeah, you could.
If I wanted to.
If you wanted to. I think the only thing
the other thing that killed the Vita is the memory card.
Yeah.
It was specifically designed memory card.
You had to buy proprietary Sony stuff.
Yes, you couldn't get a standard micro SD card to just stick in there. But yeah, that's one of the bad things about it.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of flawed designs, but we can put the Vita to rest.
Yep, so Vita, we hardly knew ye. Let's move on.
Vita had a nice life.
The last blip we have about Sony is a follow-up about their PlayStation Classic that we talked about last week.
So last week we noted that there are about 5 or 6 games officially announced. And we're wondering, why is that?
Well, we don't necessarily know why is that, but one thing that we do know is that the 20 total games will be slightly different in Japan than the international release. Which makes sense. This is exactly the same case as the Nintendo Classic consoles as well. The NES and the Super NES Classic consoles also had a slightly different lineup in Japan. And, that makes sense due to just, one, that being their home country, and two, just culturally there's going to just be different games that, caught the zeitgeist more than they did here. So we don't know what games specifically those will be. We don't know what games will be different. We know that the 5 that have confirmed will be in both the Japanese and international releases. But at least now we know that there will be some games that will not be available on the US version.
Well, not only that, but a lot of early Japanese games were region locked to Japan.
That's true.
I know this isn't down there in the news, but one of the big example of a game being region locked is the Phoenix Wright games. I know it's not Sony.
Right, but yes.
But that's just a clear example because only now is it getting a region-free Phoenix Wright trilogy being released that was announced.
Right, yeah. We don't have that here, but yes, the Phoenix Wright games, the original trilogy, are going to be released for modern consoles, which is kind of crazy to think about. I only played one of those. I played the third.
Okay.
Trials and Tribulations. That's the only one I owned.
But they always seem interesting to me.
You'd probably love those games.
I probably would.
Yeah.
They're
fun. They're a little unforgiving, though, because it's basically if you get one thing wrong, you have to start the entire case over.
Yeah.
Which is a pain and a half. So it's either a game that you, can be really patient with, or sit there with a guide. It's just definitely that kind of classic Japanese design, where it's just alright, could bang my head against this thing for a while. But they're fun, and they've got great writing, and it's good personality. So that'll be fun to revisit. All right, let's move on to our next story, which is about Amazon's game studios.
Yeah, so Amazon has a game studio.
They've had it for a while and haven't really done a whole lot with it. But now we have a deeper look into its new MMO.
Well, we have a peek behind the curtain.
It's called New World, and hundreds of players will war over a newly discovered supernatural continent. They will build forts, set quests for other players, and battle over territory. It has started inviting players to an alpha test room based on those who signed up on the game's website. Though it's just environments right now, there is a day-night cycle and supernatural creatures that appear from time to time, so it's an MMO.
It's an MMO. It sounds like fantasy MMO, not necessarily World of Warcraft style, but more Skyrim.
It definitely sounds like an MMO of more like the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. It's still in alpha. They're going to be doing a lot more testing. Expect the thing to come out probably this time next year.
If that.
If that.
MMOs take a long time.
Yeah. But this is Amazon trying to spread its web of interactive stuff and going to games.
All right, our next story is a follow-up, I guess, in a way, because we mentioned this thing last week. by not naming it by name.
We didn't mention it by name, but we
did mention it.
We mentioned the PSVR and why can't there be something else?
In comparison, yes.
Yes. So almost as if our wishes were heard, VR Lady is back.
VR Lady is back because the Oculus Quest is in the news. The Oculus Quest is the new name for the Oculus product that we knew previously as Santa Cruz, I think it was, code name.
Oh, yeah.
The Oculus Quest is going to be an all-in-one VR gaming system that will launch in spring of 2019 for $399. It will offer 6 degrees of freedom and touch controllers. It will require no PC, no wires, and no external sensors to operate. There will be over 50 games lined up for launch, with even more Oculus Rift games, like Robo Recall, The Climb, and Moss, coming to the system. The 64-gigabyte headset has a 1600 by 1440 per eye resolution with built-in audio. Also coming is Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, which will debut when it launches by winter, with executive producer David S. Goyer.
And that's when I turned off.
Involved. So, we kind of talked briefly about this, but this is basically Oculus's answer to, hey, if you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a PC, well, here's a thing that's just baked in, like everything's baked in the headset. Go at it. It's not going to be as quality as what you would get out of a PC with a proper graphics card, but considering that
everything is built in
resolution, it will be probably a higher quality product than your Gear VR, but it won't be quite to the point of an Oculus Rift.
Right.
So think somewhere in the middle.
So previously we were talking about the Oculus Go being their Oculus Rift Lite version.
That is the thing that basically is a phone. This is not that. This is a little better.
Yes, this is built in. The six axes, forward, back, side to side, up, down. With the Oculus Rift, you need actual pinpointed sensors.
No sensors here.
No sensors here. You'll get the controllers that you normally would for an Oculus. So it's basically everything that a VR should be when you think of a VR headset.
Yeah. It sounds like it's probably pretty close to a PSVR.
Now, is it priced right?
$399 I think is good because it reminds me of a console price.
Yes.
And I think that's good because that means it's consumer level. It was basically like, do I get a PlayStation 4 Pro for my kid this Christmas, or do I get him an Oculus Quest? Mm-hmm. I think that's smart. I think pricing it in comparison to a gaming console is the best price that they can put that thing at.
Right. Now, when Oculus Rift came out, it was like at $700, $800.
That is pricing yourself out of existence.
Yes.
This is, they're getting close to an actual price that people can afford for VR. So I think this might be important. I think that it might be important, especially this holiday season, when it comes to people like, well, maybe VR is something that I want to experience, and now I can actually afford to do it. It'll be a lot of people's entry into VR, I think.
I think you're right. It is probably priced. This is... Unlike the PSVR, which you have to have a PlayStation console, you have to have a PS Pro to run it, right? No.
I believe that you get slightly better resolution, I think, with PlayStation 4 Pro attached. Yeah. And you get, I believe, a pass-through for HDR, but I don't think it's required to have a Pro.
Okay.
I think you could just get it straight up PS4 and play PS4.
But so unlike that, where it's either you already have a PS4 and you're going to buy an extra peripheral.
Right, this is
cheaper than that. This is all inclusive. This is for anyone who doesn't want to buy a console or doesn't already own a console.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to upgrade or can't or doesn't know how to upgrade their PC.
Yeah, exactly. I think, simplicity is something that's going to be appreciated by a lot of people out there that wanted to try VR and just haven't gotten it.
And I think this is the way Oculus gets its name out there, too.
Yeah,
I mean, outside of the geek, nerd, tech bubble.
Right, exactly.
It's got to make the splash. I think you're right. It is priced right. This holiday season is going to be a big year for it.
The Black Friday deals on this thing will be fascinating.
Yes.
Because if you get this thing down to, God, $250, can you imagine? Something like super cheap. This thing's going to fly off the shelves.
Yeah. Oh, if it's at $250, I think, people will pick it up instantly.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what they do.
But that's dropping at 150.
Mhm.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I was just
$299.
I pulled a number out of my ass.
Well, because that's what PlayStation's usually run for on holiday season.
Maybe 350.
350, even
$50
300.
off.
Yeah, even at 300, it's going to be a tight.
It'd be
fit.
good. All right, that will do it for the video game segment, and that means that'll do it for. Well, actually, before we continue, I guess we can really briefly say what video games we played. We played more Spider-Man.
So yes, we played more Spider-Man. Do you want to talk more about Spider-Man?
No, we continued playing it. You finished it.
I finished it. I beat it. I 100%ed it. I planned it. I got the super secret costume.
Yeah.
That's not listed. I'm still going through that though. I have to do one last quest, and then hopefully they'll unleash not PlayStation Plus, New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Onto that thing. But since I did beat it, I'm going to go back into God of War and finish that New Game Plus because I still think that's a better tight story than Spider-Man. But we'll talk about that at the end of the year.
Yeah, but needless to say, we still like Spider-Man. It's still a good game. We're still playing it. So yeah, go pick up Spider-Man if you haven't.
Yes, and
other than that,
I got back into playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross.
Okay.
For the sole reason that this TGS Tokyo Game Show this past week, they said that if you're playing Union Cross, you can not only play the PlayStation, the Kingdom Hearts 3 mini games that will come out. The little what are they called? The little handheld stuff that they previously had the trailer for.
Yeah.
Those will be available to play on the app Union Cross, and if you play that, you'll unlock extra Keyblade.
Okay.
So me being the fandom that is directly pointed at, decided that sure, I'll get back into that game. I haven't played it in about a year and a half. Why not?
Why not?
So I am going to go right into that thing. And that will get us right into the next thing, which is plugging away.
Yep, that'll do it for the Media Boat podcast, so you know what that means.
All right, where can you find us at?
Wrap up. All right, so Media Boat podcast happens every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and you can catch it every week on YouTube. Find us on social media, in case you're one of those people. You can join us on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. You can see us on Facebook. If you search Media Boat Podcast, you'll find our page. Like our page and comment there. You can find us on Twitch.tv when we stream video games. That's twitch.tv/MediaBoat on there. You can find us on our website where our writing is at MediaBoatPodcast.com. And you can find us on Patreon, where you can donate to us. You can donate as little as $1 a month to make us even better than we already are and get exclusive content that we haven't even thought about yet. We just need your help. I think that will do it. Oh, yeah, and we also have our audio version of our podcast if you're more of an audio person. That's on any podcast service you subscribe to or you have on your phone or your iPod. Just search Media Boat Podcast and you'll find us. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate it. If you haven't had one yet, we could use one. All right, that'll do it for the Media Boat Podcast. We will see you guys next week when we'll be back for another episode.
Yep, we're back with another episode. I'll have my official thoughts on Manifest. I'll probably have full thoughts on Maniac when I finish that up. Mm-hmm. New TV. I'm going to check out some new stuff. I'll check out the first episode of Million Little Things, tell you how much that thing sucks. I did end up watching the first episode of the last season of Big Bang Theory. I don't know why. It's a thing.
Tomorrow is season premiere of The Good Place, season 3. Yes,
we'll have thoughts on that.
Yep.
I will have thoughts on all NBC comedies, that new show by Amy Poehler, My Worst Life, something like
that, yeah. All right.
Yeah, but all that
and
hockey,
more.
All that and hockey will be starting. Football is still continuing, and we're gonna have a lot more stuff for you next week. New news is new.
New. We'll be back next week for more new.
All right, thank you all for listening.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. All right, YouTube after show, and we've been covering everything.
Yay.
So, like I say at the beginning and end of every episode, if you want to chat with us live Wednesdays 8 o'clock, just hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell when we go live here on YouTube for Beatable Podcast, or like us on Facebook or Twitter. I tweet out when we're going live right before every episode. You can see us, you can catch us, you can talk with us.
Sure.
We talk with you. Like earlier in the episode, we had the questions about Manifest and should you catch up on This Is Us. We respond to you live, and if you're getting to this, thank you for watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know it's a long, I know these things are like hour and a half plus at some points, but thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with more stuff.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.